This issue of food crisis should be taken more seriously because this is the first time Nigeria is being included in countries that are likely to face very, very serious food crisis. There in the north, or here in the north, we have started seeing it visibly. People are hungry, very, very hungry. Many cannot go to their farms. All of us know this. In the north central, the northeast, and the northwest. Even in southeast, we still have crisis among the farmers and herdsmen. Even in southwest, we still have this crisis. As it is now, a bag of rice is selling at about 100,000. A bag of maize, the same thing. Even prices of tomatoes, onions, and other basic food is high. Distinguished colleagues, as representatives of the people, we need to do something, or at least say something. That's why I co-sponsored this motion, and I believe all of us here are concerned because we are talking to one another. Let's do something. The prayers of the motion is quite clear. If there need, it should be added. And because we have other motions to take on, I'm suggesting that we look at this and go to the prayers. Support the motion wholeheartedly, go to the prayers, add what we need to add. I want to bring to the attention of our dear distinguished colleagues the importance of this motion. In March 2024, edition of CADE Harmonize. CADE Harmonize is a unified tool for consensual analysis of acute food and nutrition insecurity in the Sahel and West Africa. They are a very credible source of information. In their March publication, they said Nigeria is very likely to experience highest session of food insecurity, even though globally, but most severely. Currently, there are 4 countries, including Sudan and some others, that are facing very serious food insecurity. And Nigeria is added to this list this year by International Rescue Committee as one of the hotspots for food insecurity. Action Against Hunger, World Food Programme, FOA, also indicated that over 32 million people are expected to face critical hunger crisis and emerging level between June and August. With that, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, I hereby second this motion as ably moved by Steve. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, distinguished Senator.
It will be a sad day if we appear to do anything that will revise what the executive is trying to do in giving effect to the recommendations of the Orosaye report, which most Nigerians accept and expect the president to carry to conclusion. I am unable to support the idea. Everything in its totality as captured in this motion, because our commitment to cut down costs, to reduce waste in the public sector, I think it's something that we all share. And when the executive have taken decision, it's not abolishing the responsibilities of the film industry. It's probably reducing it as a department so that you can cut down your overhead and save money for other things. Just earlier, before this one now, we spent time debating what government should do to ameliorate the current food crisis. We just have limited resources at every point in time. So steps be taken by the executive to give effect to the much talked about Rosaye report. I don't think that this Senate should block that effort. When it has been done, I believe at the appropriate time, the executive can forward if it is necessary. If it is necessary. You can have a law say create something, but what is the penalty if it is not created? I suggest that given our commitment to cut down public expenditure and the fact that we all share the idea that we should rationalize multiple agencies so that resources can be better applied where they are needed most.
If we don't take immediate action and our citizens under this situation of increased fuel price, increased electricity price, increased everything, and we are yet to get the right measures to provide cushions for our citizens. We wouldn't like the kind of thing that we see in our streets. And it is time that we take every possible action together with the executive arm of government to ensure that food flood our country, the right food. Importation, government must be entirely responsible because we cannot take people for granted for too long. We have come almost to the end of their patience. And I think the elasticity is now going to snap if we are not careful. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Distinguished colleagues, I'm Ahmed Lawan, I represent Yobe North Senatorial District. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, let me commend the movers of this motion and also add here that patience, tolerance, they are both elastic, but they are not eternally elastic. Our students are facing real hunger. I traveled to 2 states last week, in the north particularly, and I've seen firsthand how people, especially those who are neither in the civil service nor in any business, common everyday citizens, are suffering, fighting, struggling to have food at least once in a day. Under normal circumstances, Mr. President, in the rainy season, from maybe June up to September or October, when there will be harvests of new foodstuff, prices escalate. Prices of foodstuff. Now, we don't even have. That's the truth. Mr. President, in today's national dailies, the executive arm of government is saying is considering reducing or removing taxes on imported foodstuff. Mr. President, here's the catch. This Senate must engage the executive immediately. What are the issues? Which taxes are they talking about? Because we should be seen to be doing the right thing. We have really little or nothing in our food reserve across the country. And nobody should come and tell us they will distribute foodstuff from our silos. The silos are empty, Mr. President. So it means we have to import food. And if we have to import, it means we need foreign exchange. And that is scarce. We have to engage with administration. We have to help the administration. Mr. President, we are the most vulnerable in the leadership arrangements of this country, members of the National Assembly. Everybody looks up to senators or members of the House of Reps. In fact, people see senators like the messiahs. Any problem, they say, go for a senator.
So, effort made by the current federal executive to arrest the consistent increase in food inflation have not yielded the desired result. There is need to be more pragmatic about addressing food insecurity, curbing other farmer crises, kidnapping for ransom and terrorism, and ensure the development of a viable national commodity board to regulate the prices of grains and ensure the elimination of artificial contribution to food and commodity inflation in Nigeria.
This bill was enacted in 2015 against the backdrop of the rising cases of violence, especially domestic violence against women. The initial bill sought protection for women from male domination violence. In the face of opposition to its obvious gender-biased nature, the promoters renamed it, tinkered with some of its provisions, introduced seemingly gender-neutral language, and successfully obtained its passage. Its explanatory memorandum states that it prohibits all forms of violence against persons in private and public life and provides protection and remedies for victims and punishment of offenders. Upon close scrutiny of the Act, it becomes obvious that it contains provisions that are inimical to the realization of its objectives. Mr. President, my very distinguished colleagues, going through the provisions of the Act, it is obvious that it is plagued by substantial and drafted challenges. This underscores the necessity for a holistic reform of the Act to bring the provisions in line with the realities of societal change and drafting standards to effective dispensation of justice.
For me, I'm saying that this is an emergency. The food situation is an emergency. We must help our people. And part of it is also to make sure it's not just providing food today, it's being able to plant to make sure that latest October, November, we have excess food in the market. Because Nigerians must feed. Everybody is concerned. The primary role of government is to ensure the welfare and security of the citizens. And that is the reason why we are here. We must take emergency steps. The government is doing its best by ensuring that any food item that enters the country is zero levy in order to make sure that people have food. And then, of course, the distribution of these fertilizers across is to enhance production, at least within this period, because after this, they will be useless. So let us make sure that these things are there between now and next week so that we can distribute to our constituents. And we shouldn't keep them. As soon as they come, distribute them. Let the farmers make use of them. That we should urge the federal government of Nigeria to, as a matter of urgency, take measures to fight the impending food insecurity. Outline measures to combat the situation, and thereafter address the Nigerian people on steps taken. Address the Nigerian people on steps taken to ameliorate the situation. No. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish chartered out-of-home media practitioners of Nigeria and for other related matters 2024. Second reading taken. This bill is now committed to the Committee on Establishment and Public Service Matters to report back in 6 weeks.
Colleagues, it's unfortunate that the fertilizer distribution had to be delayed, but I have at every point in time briefed the Senate President on the current status of what has been happening. We had hitches from the NSA's office. They stopped every truck of fertilizer from moving out because of the security implication. They had to certify clear before they will allow the trucks to move out. And as of today, I just showed the Senate President, the trucks are being loaded. They will be moved to the various states. So I want us to exercise patience again.